Yeah, so my topic is like from a star hackathon hacker to AI company and how hackathons boost innovations. So my career has started when I was a software developer and I've started coding and also making some data science projects. Today, I'm the executive officer and the company leader at Steinbeiß AI Consulting Center. We help different companies organizing and implementing some AI as a service. And I'm also a professional hackathon attendee. I've been to many different hackathons. I also a well-known organizer. I have my own software community about hackathons actually. And in the 2020, I was awarded by Major League Hacking as one of top 50 hackathon hackers in the world. So what I do at this moment, so I help different companies with making AI and running this consultancy has helped me a lot. Then I have started attending different hackathons, and then I have started with my first one that has completely changed my life. And before we go to my story, I would like to make an accent on a few things about the modern world and Gen Z especially. So the main thing is that 80% aspire to work with cutting edge technologies. And the Gen Z audience, they're more likely to start their career early, and they also understand that half of them will not have their job after 20 years, so their job will just disappear. And this statistic just yielding to the following sentence that the world is changing so rapid and you need to think fast, you need to develop new ideas, you need to implement that, because in 20 years you probably will have another job and maybe have another topic, and that's the crucial thing I think in my discussion. So if you have started your company in 76, so you could do that in-house, you could do it very expensive and quite slow. So it was quite okay to spend 10 years in a row building your startup. Today in 2020, you have remote jobs, you have cheap software developers, and they're also worldwide available. Today, if I need to do something, I go to the GitHub, I don't go to my garage. I find a ready source code, I make a small prototype, and the development is making me so fast, and I can test my ideas. And that's the main change from the 30 years perspective. And one of the topic I'm more familiar with is AI. So I've been studying AI. I'm doing a lot of different projects in that topic. And if you want to see how the AI has started in 80s or in 90s, it was well known only in the world of scientists, and maybe in the beginning of our century, some recommendation systems has started, but the idea is that some of the modern machine learning technologies are becoming more and more common. For example, computer vision. So can you imagine that a state-of-the-art technology could be outdated in just 5 years in 76? Well, today it is quite okay for us because, for example, the image recognition and the face tracking technology, which was quite popular in the research world in 2014, now begins more and more ordinary thing because Facebook, Google, Apple, all of them, they are making AR programs which can help creators to build their own face tracking services. And that begins with different tools, and now it makes more and more affordable. And like from 2 to 5 years, the coding is just can make something new to more casual. For example, if I just go out of my presentation and I would like to show you something, that the snap camera, for example. So I can just can become a cat in a second, and I can present my this technology at the live stream. I can even become a potato and start telling you about the scientific approach in the same road. And this how the technology is making everything. So in 5 years, it was just state of the art. Today, it is a common thing, and you need to develop something new. And I just want to show you some analogy with my story. And I was thinking about that I'm doing something very casual when I've been a software developer. I was only thinking about the planning of my sprints with the agile technology. I was thinking about some design, building, testing, reviews. That was continuous for ages. But somehow I was also thinking about the products and how they can change their mind of the consumers. And I have started attending different hackathons. And hackathons are helping me today is just to drive some innovation. Just for some audience who are not really familiar with that topic, hackathon is like a IT competition when teams from up to 5 people coming together and they coding something without any breaks for 36 hours. They want to create a product and to show this product as a small startup. And at my first hackathon, I understood one simple thing. If I want to spend a lot of time for making casual things at my job, why I can't get the value in 36 hours? And then I have started thinking, okay, if in 36 hours I can drive some innovations, shall I solve a task in weeks? Well, the answer is yes, because you can create the value in 36 hours, but you still need to drive these tasks in weeks. But if you start thinking that you want to solve a task in weeks, that means that you can spend years to solve tasks, not to generate some value. And that's the crucial thing, that you can create not only fast, but also valuable products. And if you compare building a product, like you make your own pyramid, it's like then you start with not just the ready product, but with a short prototype. You can deliver new value with some new features, and step by step, that makes completely different effort. So instead of then you go for the traditional coding, then you start with your customer, asking him about some technical aspects, software development, and then in final thing, you have your things done. You need to spend several months to do that. And I, uh, I realized that this pattern is extremely good for consultancy. It is extremely good for making your own IT agency. And if you want to drive your software development, you have to think like that. You have to think in prototypes, not in products. You have to think about the value and how to improve the value. You can avoid different technical details, but the value could be delivered in days. And in the theory, it's also known as making proof of concept instead of prototype or a pilot. So you just create a small isolated thing, then you make it bigger and bigger. And the final thing, that makes your client happy and that makes you happy. So it helps you to create the innovations faster. And that's not only about the innovation, but also about your team. When I've been attending to different hackathons, I realized that then you start thinking in more iterative processing. Then you also need to think about your team. You want to keep it still small to test ideas faster. And then you do it again and again. I understood that after hackathons, the strongest team is the team with cross skills. So in example, we won this hackathon at Startup Weekend Techstars because all of our team members, all of them, they had cross skills. Almost no one were thinking only about technology, but also all of them were thinking about the product. They were thinking about the pitch and about the making the website. They all were thinking about some backend components and sales. And this is also a very important thing, because then you have your cross skills in the team that can also help you to transfer the learn of one example or one hackathon or one corporate client to many others. And in my story, it was like that. So we did at this hackathon, actually, we did AI art. This for some people, I think that's crazy, but AI can also create some art. And we have created the art. We have also sold several paintings. And then we were thinking at another hackathon how it can help you. Some of my team member, he proposed, oh, we can use exactly same algorithms for predicting oil pumping. And when we talk about some oil and gas well logging problem, we can use the same approach. And then I talk about the cross skills. I mean this, that you think about AI art and then somehow you understand that same approach can be used in the oil and gas. And then you start thinking like that, you are becoming a real hacker, not the hacker who cracked the system, but the hacker who hacked the brain, who hacked the ideas and propose new technologies, breakthrough technologies. And step by step, then you have this AI art project, then you have the oil and gas well logging project. So you can start with your potential client. And it was, for example, our case in the consultancy. Then we have started with a small team, and then we have proposed this approach to our oil and gas company, and we got the results. And after we got these results, we also understood that some of these components could be used in completely another story, in industrial machine learning. And industrial machine learning, for example, we went to several hackathons about predictive maintenance when some machinery can broke and you want to predict like what's the chance of this defect. And we went to the Bosch hackathon, for example, in Berlin, and we have proposed the close approach to the one we had in oil and gas, and we have started predicting bad defects. And this gave us the very high outcome because the colleagues of Bosch, they told us that our solution were rather better than in their production. And summing up, I would say that this is not the last example of how you can use your cross skills for making money and making new good projects with your team, but it's also about boosting the innovations. That's all can also be applicable for your corporate team. For example, your team members can run your own internal hackathon or any other IT contest and start thinking like that. And summing up, I would emphasize your attention to these four components about what I have learned about software development in 2020. And today, these four knowledges, such as a go-to-market time, can help me with running some different applicable solutions in my AI consulting center. And if you have any questions, we can discuss them during this Q&A session after my pitch. And you can also reach me via LinkedIn. With this QR code, you can scan it with your mobile phone or find me via search Alex Malyshev or via Alex Security. I would gladly answer all your questions.